Shorty was all with y'all. Oh, hi. Coming to say you look, you fine. We got to cutting it up. She know about the kid and fuck on my line. I'ma keep it up with y'all. But shorty, I'm trying to make you mine. Don't make it too easy, I wanna try. She looking too good.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 4 of The Couch, a sports podcast. This is the first episode that's going to be on YouTube, so I hope everyone did their makeup today, is looking their finest. I know I'm definitely not, but this is going on YouTube. This will be our first video that we're posting on the YouTube channel. We will be posting every single podcast on the YouTube channel. We have a nice editor. Thank you, Vincent. Shout out Vincent, good friend from high school. So he's going to be editing those videos for us and getting them up on the YouTube so you guys can see our faces, get to know us a little better, get to know how we what we look like, who we are, and kind of just see how we podcast, which is great. We have a few things to talk about today. I'm joined here today by Max Lebelzik and Malik. Boys, we're going to go over some NFL, a little NBA Summer League action that's been going on. Then we're going to go over the NFC East record predictions, which, like I said last time, one of our favorite segments to do here on this channel. Cowboys, Eagles, the Washington Commanders. Are they the Commanders? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then the Malik's New York Giants. But I'm very excited for this podcast, guys. Very excited for this episode.
It's going to be a good one. We're talking about the best division in sports like later, so y'all tune in.
Yeah, they always seem to produce Super Bowl winners every single year. So, all right, first things first on the docket. Robbie Anderson, Baker Mayfield teammates now. Baker Mayfield got traded to the Carolina Panthers. I don't know why I led with Robbie Anderson, but Baker Mayfield is now a Panther. Sam Darnold got fucked a little bit there. Robbie Anderson back in April. This is why I'm bringing him up. He tweeted no when the possibility of playing with Baker came up. He really doesn't want to play with Baker, and now he is. Malik, the Panthers suck, but does this make them any sort of better?
Yeah, it's an upgrade from Sam Darnold. Like any average quarterback on the market, like Jimmy G, Baker, all of them they're going to be upgrades to Sam Darnold. So this is a win for the Panthers. Plus, you only gave a 5th round pick. I mean, they have some good players, decent players on the squad. I think they could win up to 7 games, maybe sneak into the playoffs.
Yeah, this was a really weird situation because it's almost like you're seeing a quarterback get punished for playing through injury because last season Baker had that shoulder issue. He clearly wasn't 100%. And I know there's a pretty split room in general on what Baker is and how good he can be. But in my opinion, he's pretty underrated now, especially with no teams looking to bite on him. And that's sort of how the market turned out. Everyone got their quarterbacks before he became available. So it was kind of tough for him. But I think people saw that he didn't look very good when he played last season towards the end, especially with his injuries. But I think people forget how he could be not a very good, but a above average quarterback. And if the Panthers get that, that's pretty good. They'd still have a shit team, as you said, but I mean, that's a start. Your quarterback's your most important position. And now they have one that's serviceable if he is able to come back healthy.
They obviously have CMC too, who I think benefits greatly from this trade. I think opening up the pass for Carolina will allow CMC to be more explosive and, kind of explode more when he gets the touches, because I think that Carolina will look to throw the ball a little more next year with Baker. I like Baker. I think he's a good quarterback. I know they don't have the best weapons, and they have Gilmore in the secondary, so they're going to be okay, but they're not going to be anything to, really keep an eye on. I'd be really surprised if they got to 7-8 wins. I think would be a very successful year for them. I still think they have an opportunity to build and become a pretty solid team. They have a solid foundation. You have your anchor of the defense. Usually you want that to be like a linebacker, but I mean, you have Gilmore, who's locked down. You have Baker, who's a pretty damn good quarterback. I like Baker as a quarterback. I think he's very, very good. And then you obviously have Christian McCaffrey, who's probably the most electrifying player in the NFL. So yeah, I think they're going to be in a pretty good shape coming into next season. I don't expect them to do anything, like I said, but I do expect them in a couple years, or probably next offseason, to try and make some moves to really add a couple pieces to help them win more games. Because they went from being the worst team in the NFL to now actually having a chance with Baker, I think.
And yeah, plus he's a good bridge guy too. If you're thinking about drafting a quarterback next year, he's a good guy you can have now just to win games, just for you now. so the bridge over to the next quarterback. So this was a good pickup for me.
Not to mention, Baker has been very vocal about like when he's an underdog, that's when he performs best. And when people don't believe in him, that's when he kind of performs best. And it's interesting. I mean, he got all those commercials, he got all this notoriety right when he gets to the Browns. And you could argue, like, what did he do to deserve all that? Like, he was very good coming out of Oklahoma, but did he really deserve all this? Like, he was being pushed almost like the poster boy of the NFL before he
All the
really,
hype and press. Yeah.
before he had really deserved it. And he got backlash for it. And then he saw his value go down to a 5th overall or a 5th round pick, which is ridiculous because Deshaun Watson got traded for like 4 first. And I don't know if he'll even touch the field ever. Like, it's crazy what the quarterback market is, but that's besides the point. I think an underdog Baker Mayfield, that's a position where he may thrive. And I would be willing to put money that he comes in with a lot to prove and he might actually do it. And I like you, Butsy. I personally like Baker Mayfield. I think he got criminally underrated in this trading process.
Hungry dogs run faster. I forget. I think that's a Dave Portnoy quote. That's a somebody on Barstool quote. But hungry dogs do tend to run faster, especially with Baker. He's a straight competitor. All he wants to do is win, and I think that he will bring a little bit of a winning atmosphere and a little bit of a winning culture. I know he hasn't had a ton of success in Cleveland, but that competitive drive, that mentality to win, I think he will bring to Carolina. But I will say I'm not a big fan of the coach Matt Rule. I think hopefully, I don't know what his contract situation is like, but in the next couple of years, if they're looking to really establish themselves as kind of, on the wild card playoff edge in a few years, with surrounding these pieces that they have, I think they need to get rid of him. I think they need to bring in somebody else. What do you think, Malik?
I think this is it's a make or break year for Matt Rule. He's got to prove that he can elevate this franchise. It's been 2 years straight mediocrity. And last year the offense, he's supposed to be an offensive coach. The offense was ranked 29th in the NFL. So you got to do better than that.
Just to clean up the contract stuff a little bit, he signed a 7-year, $62 million in 2019. So he's
7 years. Oh
yes,
my
he's got 5
God.
years. So
That's a pretty bad contract.
He's making like 12 point something a year. So he's got a lot left on him. I mean, NFL coaches are the first to go when it's like quarterbacks and coaches are usually the first to get the knife when shit hits the fan. So maybe, I don't know if you'll continue to see him, but I agree with Malik that it is probably a make or break year for him.
Let's talk about the other side of this trade. The Cleveland Browns kind of got dicked here. Got a 5th round draft pick, 2024, I think 2024 5th round draft pick in return for fucking the first overall pick in the draft. So I mean, it's not great for Cleveland. Their situation's looking really shitty. It's looking really, really grim right now. Do you guys see any chance that Cleveland can revive themselves within the next 2 to 3 years? Are they just going to go back to the 0-16 Browns, paper bags on the fucking heads, like 0-16, 0-17 now Browns?
They deserve it.
Yeah, you go.
All right, they deserve this. I don't feel bad for them. You took a chance on a guy that it's not just baggage. These are serious issues that he comes in, and that's not for us to talk about. But if I'm running a business, I'm not going to bring in someone that has the background that Deshaun Watson is, no matter the talent he is, because it seems like there's a pretty good case against him. And I don't know. I think you alienate a lot of the women in your fan base when you bring in a player like him. And I just don't know why they would do that. I think they should have built around Baker. They should have been better with Baker. They should have handled him better. And if they had traded Baker at the correct time instead of making up that play on Deshaun, I think they would have been in a lot better shape. They really did this to themselves. I don't know why you do this, especially in this day and age, in the social media era, when your mistakes are never going to go away. And I don't know. I think this is not a good look for the franchise. This is not a good look for the NFL if he's allowed to play still, depending on what happens. But yeah, I don't know why the Browns did it.
Yeah, and I've seen reports up to a year. So like the perfect quarterback I would want to bring in was Jimmy Garoppolo. He's still on the 49ers. They still want to trade him. He can win you like 9 or 10 games to get you to the playoffs. That roster is really good. And yeah, that's a quarterback I want to see on there for sure.
That was actually the next point I was going to transition into, is the state of Jimmy G. probably the last quarterback up, whose future is not really decided right now when it comes to NFL free agency or trades that are going to happen in the NFL for this offseason. Because I know it's crazy, but I think the Hall of Fame game is in less than a month now. It's August 1st, I believe, something like that. So very, very excited for this NFL season to start. But Jimmy Garoppolo, he's a guy who's proven that he really can't throw the football. But if you need like a veteran quarterback that really can run it, he can run an offense very well. So if you needed a veteran quarterback to run an offense in placeholder of Deshaun Watson, which the Browns desperately need, I really don't see why they wouldn't try trading for him. And trades in the NFL have never really made any sense to me coming from an NBA fan, where it's like, you're trading Kevin Durant for like superstars and stars and picks, and then you trade the number 1 overall pick in Baker Mayfield for a 5th round draft pick. So that's never really made any sense to me. But if you can go get Jimmy Garoppolo for, I don't know, a fucking 4th round pick or a 4th and a 3rd round pick, I think that'd be great for Cleveland. I think that would put them in contention to win the playoffs. But they need a quarterback. I know they have Jacoby Brissett, who would be backing up whoever starts, or maybe he's the starter week 1. I'm a big fan of Brissett. I saw him play live on Thursday Night Football when Brady was suspended. He ran like a 60-yard touchdown. It was sick. But he's just not going to be the answer for the Browns, especially if Deshaun's out the whole year. So I do believe that they need to go get Jimmy Garoppolo, bring him in, have him get some reps with the offense before the season, and, hopefully scrap to 7, 8, or 8, 9 wins. Scrap to 8, 9 wins. Yeah. What do you guys think?
I mean, they're in a tough division too. Like, they have to worry about the Ravens and all. Like, the Ravens are going to be good. Bengals pretty good. I mean, Steelers are going to be feisty. I don't know. I don't think they're going to make anything too crazy, but it's not an easy division. They need to do something, because I know that there are going to be players on that team that have, wives and daughters that are not going to want to play with Deshaun. And then also you just need to have a better quarterback. Like, Jacoby Brissett is good, like you said, but is he a starting caliber quarterback, like, to man your team? I don't know about that. So it seems like, I don't know what they do from here. I don't know what their draft capital looks like, but like, I really like that idea of bringing in Jimmy Garoppolo. That would be a perfect fit for them. Hopefully they can do something like that. If they can do that, I feel better about them, but if they can't do that, it's going to be a little tough for them, I think.
I mean, yeah, Jimmy G, if I was a Browns fan, I'd be the most comfortable with Jimmy G starting, because everywhere he's gone, he's won. But he's the downside, he gets hurt a lot. But if you get up on the field, he'll win games. He'll win you games. So that's how I like that trade. And you can get him for, like, his value is like all time low right now. They want to move him. So I could say they get him for like what Bud said, a 4th and a 5th or a 3rd.
Like, they're looking to move him. Like, Trey Lance is the guy for the Niners right now. That was a great NFL talk. Let's transition now to NBA Summer League. Chet Holmgren, game 1, caught everybody on Earth's attention. 23 points, 7 boards, 6 blocks, 4 assists, and hitting 4 threes. Pretty damn impressive shit. But I'm going to be devil's advocate here. I did see a clip of Kenny Lofton just straight bullying him. 3 possessions in a row, I saw Kenny Lofton just go straight to the rim on him and score at ease. So I don't really know what to think of Chet. Offensively, he's obviously phenomenal. But what, like, is his skinniness? I know, coming from another skinny guy, I know that that's definitely an issue in the sport of basketball. But is his weight going to be an issue going forward for him?
Just real quick, Kenneth Lofton Jr. though weighs like as much as Zion. He's
a truck. He's a fucking truck.
6'6", 280. He was bullying every single person on that floor.
He's a truck.
He's gonna move some people. I don't know. I think that's why they took a flyer on him, because out of Louisiana Tech, like, okay shooter, not the most athletic guy, but he's a football player in basketball. So him moving Chet around is not that scary. But I completely agree. I loved how Chet played, but every year this happens where we overreact to the summer league, and that's, you got to think like they feel probably more comfortable because they're playing against their peers. And Chet's one thing that stuck out to me is Chet's jumper is smooth. It mechanically, it's beautiful. I love it. That's the big thing. It gets off quick. He has a super high release, and he can shoot above anyone. He shot above, I forget who's guarding him, but the player was 6'10", and he shot above from 3 with ease and switched it. I'm very worried about his frame. We haven't seen someone with his frame be extremely successful in the NBA ever, really. And you could argue Giannis, but Giannis is not. That's not his frame. Giannis put on 20 plus pounds of muscle before he became
Definitely
NBA.
has to be more. That dude is fucking huge.
Yeah, he is huge. Chet actually twisted his ankle in the game, and that's the stuff that I'm worried about. He is thin. He's thinner than Poku. Like they're next to each other, and it's rough. But this OKC Thunder team, granted, they're playing their literal starting lineup right now in summer league, but like they are in 4 years, they are going to be really fun. Jalen Williams out of Santa Clara looks really good. I was watching him play, and I was really impressed with his athleticism and his quick burst. Like out of nowhere, he was just a quick like dunk from like right underneath the rim, but he's not that big. I was really impressed with him. They took a lot of chances on guys that, had really high upsides, but maybe had a little bit of like an unknown X factor to them. Like for instance, Ousmane Dieng out of New Zealand, he looked really good, 6'10". I saw a thing the other day that the Thunder could run out a 6'6" point guard, 6'8" shooting guard, 6'10" small forward, a 7'2" power forward, and a 7'2" center. That could be a lineup that they put out. So this is going to be an interesting team in a couple of years for sure.
Yeah, when I watched Chet first game, he looked phenomenal, but there were still issues about his weight. Guys were getting into him a little bit. He still had 6 blocks, but I was still worried. That's what I was worried about coming into the draft, about his weight and size. So I had Paulo ahead of him, but he's still a good shot blocker. At the game against, what was it, Memphis? Yeah, he had a rough one. He started double. And Kenny Lofton really gave it to him. There's one possession, he just lowers his body, and Chet like moved like 5 feet. I was like, wow. Yeah. So imagine that, like LeBron coming at you like full speed. But yeah, the size is going to be a problem for first probably month and a half of the season. Then he's going to get used to the game. I think it'll be fine.
My thing about Chet that I want to talk about is his ability to guard not at the rim. His ability to guard, as we see, Kenny Lofton got the ball at the elbows and on the wings and just went straight at him. Yep. Like, there's no reason that somebody who's his size or even taller, right? He was only 6'6". I know he's a fucking tank. Yeah. But if you get, like a 6'9" wing with a pretty filled out frame going at Chet, I mean, he's probably going to get fucking moved. So we know it's a very wing dominated league. It's going to be interesting to see how he'll be able to match up defensively throughout his first year in the NBA. But offensively, I don't think there's any questions about his game. He's also a phenomenal rim protector. 6 blocks. That's very, very impressive. Very incredible for a young guy. Broke the summer league record, I think. I think that was the summer league record, 6 blocks, and he plans on breaking it, he said. But I'm just concerned with his defensive ability, not at the rim, but pretty much everywhere else. He can hang with guys on the perimeter, contest shots. Obviously, he's long as shit, pause. But just being able to guard guys on the wing when they get going downhill, fast transitions going downhill, I'm kind of worried about that going forward.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned about him wanting to go out and get those 6 more blocks. The best thing is that he's not afraid. That's the biggest thing, because you can fix your weight, you can add more weight, you can get in the gym, you can get big, but you can't fix your mentality. We talked about this before with Ben Simmons and just the competitive nature. Chet has that, and he has some dog in him, and he's not. Goes all the way back to high school. When people would talk shit to him, he would talk right back, and I love that about him. He's confident in himself. That's a good thing. I also love that I saw him take the ball off the rim and just go. I love the versatility that OKC has. They have like 5 players that are all above 6'6" that can do that now, that can just take the ball off the rim and just go and run the floor. And they have a lot of great passers. Josh Giddey is looking really nice. I know a lot of people were afraid of his jumper coming into the draft, and a lot of people argued that and he's not the most athletic, and a lot of people were arguing that he had potential to be a bust. He almost he was in the realm of rookie of the year. He wasn't quite there, but he's looking really good, and I'm excited to see how he elevates Chet's passing.
Yeah, I was about to bring up Josh Giddey. He was throwing absolute dimes both games. Both games he had like combined 21 assists, which is it's pretty good. It's summer league, but yeah, he's awesome. He's going to be the point guard of the future, the way he can set up his teammates. But I watched him defense a little bit. He's still got some struggles there, but he'll get better. He's just getting he's getting strong. He's already getting stronger, adding more weight. it's only a matter of time till he becomes an average defender in the NBA.
They're just doing something in OKC that really no one else has ever tried to do. They're just building a roster completely like originally. They're building a roster in a way that we have never seen before, right? Bringing guys in that are skinny as fuck, but very talented and like 6'10", 7'2", 7'1", just really oddly athletic guys that don't really wow you. But just really get the job done. So it's going to be interesting to see how they play this year. Obviously, I'm not really expecting them to be great. They got the second pick in the draft for a reason, but they have a pretty solid roster. Their head coach, Mark, I can't even Dagnall,
I think.
Dagnall. Haven't really heard of this guy before. He's entering his third year now, but I would like to see how he kind of orchestrates his team this year. I think that they have a roster where they have a lot of potential to be pretty decent, and it'll be interesting to see if he can put it all together. I think that the fact that they brought on all of these guys, I think the GM is confident that he can put all of this shit together. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm excited to watch him play. I hope to get a couple national televised games this year because that is the only way I will be able to watch the Oklahoma City Thunder this year.
I was just gonna say they're gonna be a fun league pass team, but I guess you're not gonna.
I'm not paying like $150 a month for league pass. I know it's not $150, but it's fucking insane.
It's a lot. It's a lot. But there are like I buy the Celtics one so I can watch every Celtics game. But yeah, sometimes you can get like a cheap bundle where they give you like NBA TV and OKC kind of camps out on there. But
Stream East also.
Yeah,
Stream
you
East.
guys stream. You guys stream legally?
No, yeah, we're all legal.
No,
we're all
not
legal.
really.
That's how I watch every UFC, nice and legal. But yeah,
I always pay the 75 pay-per-view price.
Exactly. And just one quick thing: if they are able to get Wembanyama, who would fit seamlessly in at that Poku spot, I don't know. That's 4 years from now that you got a baby Warriors team coming up in terms of
So.
Dude, Victor is going to be special. He's 7'2". There's a video of him cooking Gobert at age 16. And
that guy is fucking insane.
Dude, he's
going number one.
KD.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's going number one. So it's interesting to see. Huh?
So like say the option OKC has like 1 million picks. They could have the best chance of winning the lottery.
Really? Okay. So I know that they obviously still have a bunch of picks, but that guy's going number one, no doubt. He's been the bona fide number one for the last 3 years, I think, for this draft class. So if they can get the number one pick, that'd be great. I know they still have a ton of picks, obviously, but I do think they're going to look to be competitive this year. I don't think they're going to be looking to go balls up and belly up and try to get that number one pick again.
I disagree with that a little bit because I think if they wanted to be competitive, you would have packaged those picks to get a better player, right? They have multiple picks in the upcoming draft. So they have multiple first round picks that are all going to be added to that lottery. They have the best odds for the lottery. And if they're the worst team, they will have the best chance of getting Victor. And I've listened to OKC beat writers on the Ringer, and it sounds like OKC is really looking towards Wembanyama. They're very into him.
I would be into him too. He's fucking prodigy, but I don't know if they're going to be the worst team in the NBA.
Yeah,
I really don't know if they will be.
It's going to be a tank for Victor.
Yeah, I feel like they'll win enough games for them to be in the lottery, towards the bottom half. I don't think they have too much talent to go get the one pick. They still could in the lottery in theory, but yeah, that'd be crazy if they had Wembanyama.
I know they have had a history of they sat Shea last year. They sent Horford home. They are willing. Presti, their GM is the old GM of the Sixers who did the Trust the Process Sixers. So he's a tankaholic. That's what he does.
Process is over. Process got fucked.
It did get fucked. And so I think there's a little, obviously it's a very small chance because there's going to be some really bad teams out there, Spurs, Jazz, stuff like that. But there could be a potential where they might sneak into that first overall pick.
He's a lock on the Spurs.
I think the Jazz are going to be the worst team in the NBA.
Oh yeah,
the Jazz.
Spurs.
Jazz are bad.
Charlotte.
They trade Mitchell. They might trade Mitchell in a week.
They should. Yeah. They will. I think Ainge obviously built the Celtics is going to try to get as many picks as he can for Mitchell. a couple of young players in return. He's not going to try to get any veterans on the roster. He's going to try to get one or two young guys. Maybe their pick. Who they pick? Johnny Davis, right? No, sorry, no. Johnny Davis went to Washington.
He went to
Who did they get?
The Jazz.
Who did New York get? No, who did New York get?
Oh, the Knicks. They got oh shoot. It was really confusing because they picked like Mark Williams.
They didn't get anybody. Nobody.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. That's why I'm blanking. They didn't get anybody. But I do think they have a couple young guys that Ainge would be interested in grabbing, along with a bunch of picks. New York just got Brunson, obviously. So, I mean, Brunson and Mitchell, I think Mitchell is a good two guard, honestly. I think he plays very well with a solid point guard. So I think Mitchell, Brunson, and Robinson, obviously, Mitchell Robinson's a fucking animal. So I think those three could be a problem in New York, but the Knicks would kind of have to go all in, and that's exactly what Ainge wants them to do. But yeah, no, it's very, very interesting to see what would happen there. You guys got anything else before we move on?
I just want to say that the Knicks traded fucking Ousmane Dieng and Jalen Duren. They had both of them on the team and traded both of those players, and both of those guys could be very, very good. It's because Ousmane, I brought him up already, like 6'10", small forward, great passer, great shooter. The only real knock was that like he's a little unknown coming out of New Zealand and through the G League and didn't look that great in the G League. But I mean, I don't know what New York's doing. I like the Brunson signing, but if I'm their fans, I just feel bad for them at this point. But yeah, that it's going to be interesting. Jazz also have a lot of picks, but they're Minnesota picks, so you don't know what those values are. So hopefully
it's gonna suck, dude. That was a fucking horrible trade. Oh my god, that trade was so ass.
Pretty bad trade.
Danny Ainge over there just fucking counting his draft picks with his fucking fingers, dude.
Do we think the Knicks would risk trading away all of their good young players like RJ Barrett, Bobby Toppin, and Mitchell Robinson for like the 5th seed in the East?
Yes, because Tom Thibodeau is their head coach still, and he doesn't play young players. So him picking
that would be a Knicks. That would be a Knicks thing to do.
I would be shocked if they gave up Mitchell Robinson in a package for Donovan Mitchell. I would be very, very surprised at that. I think it would have to involve Obi, a fuck ton of an actual fuck ton of picks in order to make this trade semi-equal. Donovan Mitchell said that he's just going to stand by while the Jazz look to make their decision. He's not forcing the Jazz to make a move. This came out today. Spido won't force Jazz trade. Mitchell is going to stand pat after Rudy Gobert's departure, according to Bleacher Report. So it'll be interesting to see where he ends up, but I don't think it'll be on the Jazz by game 1 of the NBA season. I'm excited. You guys got anything else to say before we move on to the NFC East?
It is worth mentioning that the Knicks did get, like, their draft was they ended up getting draft picks in that draft. So the final haul for them was 2023 first round pick via Detroit that is protected 1 through 18, I believe. And then they got a 2023 first round pick via Washington, which could be, I don't think they'll get that one because it's also protected 1 through 14, and Washington's going to be pretty shit. So I think the Knicks probably won't get that pick. And then they have a 2025 first round pick via Milwaukee. That was just what they got from trading Jalen Duren and Ousmane Dieng. So those are picks that they can add to the litany of picks they already have to make a package for Donovan Mitchell. And I think that's worth putting out there, but I don't know. Those picks are like, if they should have gotten those unprotected, because they gave up real assets for those picks. I don't understand how you don't get that pick from Detroit, at least unprotected, because Detroit they're not going to be great, but they're going to be better they're not going to be the worst team in the league. So I don't know. I think you get that. And then for Washington too, I totally would want to get that unprotected because Washington's going to be horrible. And I understand why Washington protected it, but the Knicks need to get that unprotected or they should have gotten that unprotected because they could have gotten that pick if it's going to end up being bad, which it most likely will be, or a high pick because Washington's.
It's unfortunate. Knicks management has never been great. They've been struggling for many, many, many years now. But yeah, that was a great segment, fellas. When we come back, Jordan Dyer will be joining us. I think Max will be departing. Max got that pit sweat, so everyone on YouTube just saw that. I love. He raised his arm and was just like, "Ah, fuck." But
I realized.
On YouTube saw that.
I'm wearing like a brown shirt. Ugh, gross.
Oh, it's tough. All right, you didn't need to show it again. But Max will be departing. Malik will be staying. Jordan Dyer co-host of the Lub Cast, will be joining us to discuss the NFC East record predictions, comparing them to the Vegas lines. We have 3 squad rides on the board so far. We have Buffalo over 11.5 wins, Tennessee over 9 wins, and then Denver over 10 wins. So hopefully we can add another one for you guys.
What about the
What
Bills?
was that?
Oh, never mind. I'm stupid. Buffalo Bills.
Bulls.
Yeah, Buffalo Bills, dumbass.
Dumbass.
Hopefully we're going to be keeping track of these, obviously, throughout the whole NFL season. We'll report back after the season, mid-season. We'll give you updates on these picks. So I know, as Fike said last time, maybe tailing us is the play, or maybe fading us is the play. But personally, I would tail us, man. I would tail us. We can all, Bill Belichick, if we all are wrong together, we can still be right. Let's live by that. So yeah, we will be right back. Wow, words are fucking hard today, guys. Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. We are now joined by Jordan Dyer. Jordan, welcome.
Thank you. Let's get into it.
Yeah, let's really get into it. We have the NFC East today. Malik, this is your division. This is the division that you acclaimed is the best division in the NFL. For great reason too. There's talent across the board. These teams are phenomenal. Cowboys, Eagles, Commanders, and the Giants. Why don't you just give us your records first, Malik, since this is your division?
Yeah, so this is nothing homer at all. I just took like a serious analysis. So Giants got going 9-8, and I feel like that's
keep firing. Just fire through. We'll go back. We'll revisit.
Got Cowboys 10-7, got Birds 7-10, and they got the Commanders going 6-11.
Jordy.
All right, I got the Cowboys 12-5, the Commanders 8-9, the Giants 7-10, and the Eagles 10-7.
I have the Cowboys 10-7, Eagles 9-8, Giants 6-11, Commanders 5-12. Malik, since you were so eager to talk about your boys, your Giants, why don't you go first and talk about them?
Yeah, I feel like this got to be the year it all comes together for Daniel Jones. I've been watching every one of his games on his career, and honestly, I don't think he's a bad quarterback. He's put in an awful situation. Like, have you seen the plays Jason Garrett was calling up? I don't think Tom Brady would even have success in that. They're horrible. Yeah, and our defense is young, and we had the second leading sack leader among all rookies last year in Elise Ojulari. And we got Kayvon Thibodeau coming in. Our line is looking set. Our linebackers are pretty good, pretty solid guys. Cornerback, it's really the issue for them. Got Dory Jackson. He's always banged up. And we got some good draft picks like Darnay Holmes. Yeah, it's really going to be dependent on Daniel Jones if they can go 7-10 or 9-8. It's really all I see it.
Yeah, I mean, I am not at all like a Daniel Jones hater. I've seen a lot of good things from him, and you're right. He's been in a horrible situation in terms of coaching, as well as, having some talent issues on the offensive side. But I have him 7-10. I loved what they did in the draft. I think Kayvon was a great pick. He slid a little to them, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was top 5.
Okay, yeah. Because I know he was
number 1 though for a while though. Like
for
before draft, he was projected 1.
Yeah. So I really liked what I saw from him in college. I just can't see the Giants going positive above 500 with just how their franchises run year to year and how they're coached. I know Daniel Jones has talent. The whole team has talent, but you need an organization to be well run to get wins in the NFL. So that's why I have them 7-10.
I also think they are relying on Saquon South. Also, if you see me spitting into this cup, it's not anything bad. It's just big sunflower seeds, ranch. Those are the best sunflower seeds. But I also think they're very dependent on Saquon's health. Saquon being healthy is obviously a huge key for them. He's been hurt the past 2 years. I drafted him in fantasy, so I experienced firsthand his fucking injuries. Their schedule isn't easy, but it's also not extremely tough. They have a couple tough games. But at the end of the day, they're the Giants. They seem to lose a lot of games. just by literally not being able to score the football. The receiving core isn't great. They brought on Galladay, who hasn't scored didn't score a fucking touchdown last year. They have a couple other guys that are decent at football on the offensive side. Defense is okay. Defense is definitely the better side of the football. But you're looking at the schedule. They play the Vikings. They play the Packers in England and London. They play the Titans. It's a pretty attackable schedule for them. I think the division games they're gonna struggle in, but if they can take care of business outside the divisional games, I think 6-11 is a little harsh, to be honest. They play games against the not Browns, the Bears, Texans, Lions, Colts, Jaguars. Colts are obviously very good. Seahawks, Panthers, like they're gonna have opportunities to win games. It's just a matter of will they be able to. I'm not very confident that they will be able to. That's why I kind of put them at 6-11. I think it's a little bit of an exaggeration, but realistically, I could see them just being like 7-10, 7-10 probably is my adjusted record. If we're taking a look at the Vegas lines, Vegas has this team at 7 wins, the under 7 being at -125 and the over 7 being at +105. Malik, you have them at 9 wins. Was that correct? Is that what
9.
Is that what I heard?
Yeah.
So are you tempted to take this over?
Yeah. Honestly, every year I think we're going to the playoffs, and it hasn't happened in 5 years. So honestly, I wouldn't bet on this team. That's like the only fade I'm doing. Like that's a clear fade, but I can honestly see him getting 9. That's like the max ceiling for this team.
I think 9 is an unbelievable year for them. Like everything goes perfectly. They get 9 wins. But like I said, they have a pretty attackable schedule against some shitty opponents. So we'll see if they'll be able to pick up some wins. But personally, I would lean the under. I don't think this team is still ready to win now. I don't think they're going to be a playoff team now. So, you're getting a little comfort at at 7 flat. So, you kind of, if they get to the 7th win on the last game of the year, you'll be okay with a push. -125, you're not paying a ton of juice. I'm just not very confident in this team to put up points on the offensive end, especially with the receiver core. Jordan, what do you think?
I think it's just too unpredictable. There's some teams that you can see, they bring in established players already. The Giants, a lot of their improvements this year is going to be through will Daniel Jones progress and will these draft picks pay off? And it's just like it's too hard to say. So there's no shot I would bet that. And I had him 7-10. I didn't even know that was the number. So it definitely wouldn't be worth it for me to put anything on it.
I completely agree. Totally agree. Staying away from this one, boys. We are not squad riding this one, unfortunately. Let's move on to another team now. Washington Commanders. Some news broke today that they had a horrendous practice. I think Carson Wentz threw 3 picks in OTAs, and 2 corners ran into each other, or a safety and a corner ran into each other, and one of them had to leave with what Ron Rivera is calling shoulder soreness. So they're already a fucking mess. Carson Wentz, kind of what used to be an MVP candidate. I have them going 5-12 with a pretty tough schedule. What are you guys thinking?
Yeah, I had him at 6-11. I just don't believe in this team at all. I don't believe in Carson Wentz. We've seen it. He had a pretty good Colts team. He couldn't lead them to the playoffs. Lost the last week of the season to the worst team in the NFL, which is really bad. Yeah, and then they have a lot of holes. They have a lot of good players on the defense, though. That could elevate them up there. But other than that, I just don't believe in them.
Yeah, so I have them, 8 and 9. I guess, that's a lot more than you guys have. I could see him 7-10, but I don't think they're gonna go 5-12. Wentz, he's not great, but he's better than a lot of guys, and he's very talented. He can win you games, and he will lose you games. But I also like Ron Rivera a lot, and Chase Young on defense is an absolute stud. And then you got Scary Terry, who I think he's never had a quarterback with the type of talent Wentz has. And I think he's going to have a big year. So I have them 8-9, but 7-10, maybe a better guess.
Yeah, I think 5-12 is a little harsh, to be honest, but I like Ron Rivera, Jordan. I think that's a great point. Big fan of Ron Rivera. I think he does a lot of great things when he's coaching, when he's healthy. Thank God he beat cancer. That was obviously an incredible story. But, this team just doesn't have enough talent to make the wild card or be the second team in this division, I don't think. So I think 8-9 or 9-8 will be that second seed in the division. And I realistically just don't see them getting there. I know they have obviously Scary Terry, who just signed a huge deal. Carson Wentz, who's obviously very talented, but he kind of showed it last year, but then in the last game of the year, completely got fucked by the Jaguars. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm excited to watch this Commanders team play just because of Scary Terry. Scary Terry is an unbelievable athlete. Chase Young as well. It's always fun to watch. But Vegas has their win total at 8 wins flat, which I think is kind of high. Minus
Wow.
110 on either side, according to DraftKings. This is as of today, with July 7th at 7:17 p.m. Jesus Christ. I'm probably going to stay away from this one too. I think there's a lot of unpredictability when it comes to these first two teams that we're going over. You could see the Commanders not really having a great year. You could see Wentz being classic Wentz and just making a lot of mistakes, trying to do too much, especially with only kind of one guy to throw to in Scary Terry. But on the other hand, you could also see them kind of having a really solid year. If Scary Terry and Wentz really develop a connection, you could see them having a phenomenal year, which is probably 9-8 for them, to be honest. So probably staying away from this one.
Yeah, same here. They really could. They really have the weirdest like ceiling and floor for me. It's because they have so many variables. Got Carson Wentz, and the defense it's been good the past few years, but they've always needed that quarterback, and we just have to see if he can be that guy. And I just don't think he's the guy. So I'm gonna go under 8 wins.
Yeah, so I had them 8-9. I was right on it again. Maybe I should be Vegas. I'm getting hot.
Jordan is Vegas.
I think Vegas might be looking at their schedule a little bit because they start off Jaguars, Lions, Eagles. So I would be shocked if they don't start off at least 2-1. And then they also play the Texans. They play the Giants twice, obviously. They play the Bears, who are terrible. So they have like some free wins in there. So yeah, 8-9. I definitely wouldn't go over that. But I would stay away from it too because they're just too unpredictable, like Malik said.
I know I've said this for literally every division, but especially in this division, it's going to come down to the divisional games. It'll come down to if Washington can't perform in the divisional games, because if they will be able to get to 9 wins, because they should be able to take care of business outside of the division. It's playing teams like Chicago, playing teams like the fucking Texans, Lions. So I want to see if they start out well. If they start out well, I could see them getting to 8 wins pretty easily. But if they come out 1-2, which honestly, Jordan, you said you'd be surprised. I wouldn't be completely shocked. A lot of these teams are really scrappy that they're playing early on. I know they're not great teams by any stretch, but they're still scrappy. So if they start out 1-2 and Wentz looks terrible, I would probably see them getting to like 7 or 6 or 7 wins. But if they take care of business outside of their division, they could be able to get to 8 wins. So realistically, there's just too much variability here. I'm not going to touch this line. Moving on to the Dirty Birds, the Eagles, the Philadelphia Eagles. I had them going 9-8. I like this team, to be honest. I know that they're obviously not great, but I'm an Eagles fan. Not really, but kind of. I like the roster.
Yeah, they added a lot of new players. I just don't like their schedule at all. They have
some guy named AJ Brown.
Yeah, some kind of AJ Brown. Yeah, he's gonna make Jalen Hurts look way better. I think Devontae Smith will have a good year. I had him going 7-10, which is not really. I just don't believe in Jalen Hurts. I don't believe in a lot of these quarterbacks. I shouldn't believe in Daniel Jones, but I don't believe in Jalen Hurts, which is weird. But yeah, I like their defense is getting older. I don't like that. They need to buff that up. But other than that, I see him as mediocre the whole season.
Yeah, so I have him 10-7. I look for kind of a big season from this team and a big jump. You said you don't believe in Jalen Hurts. I actually loved what I saw from him. He sat his rookie year I think he sat like 12 games. So last year was essentially his rookie year. And whenever it's your first time playing in the NFL, you're gonna make mistakes, turn the ball over. But now that he's seen defenses, he knows, what the speed's like, how defenses disguise coverages. I think that we're going to see a big leap this year from Jalen Hurts. I actually do believe in him. And then that added on with the AJ Brown signing. I mean, I think Jalen Hurts is going to surprise a lot of people this year. So I like 10-7. Curious to hear what this line is.
This line is interesting. I'm going to say a few things about the Eagles first before we get onto the line. I'm a Jalen Hurts believer as well, especially with Devontae Smith. They had a bunch of link-ups last year. I expect that to continue, especially adding A.J. Brown only opens the field up more for Devontae Smith to get open, to get into space. A.J. Brown as well. I expect them to already be working out, and I expect them to have a great connection this year as well. So, Boston Scott is going to do his job. He's going to take about 5 rushing touchdowns away from Jalen Hurts on the 1 yard line. I had him in fantasy last year, which he was a good fantasy QB, but could have been a lot better. There were so many times where he was on the 1 yard line and gave it to Boston Scott. But the running core isn't amazing. The receivers are pretty decent, obviously. Hurts, I'm very confident in. The defense, I think it's going to be okay. I think it's going to hold up. Nothing phenomenal, nothing flashy, but it's an NFC East defense. Those are always pretty tough. This line for Philly's win total is 9.5. 9.5. We have over is -120 and the under is even. So Jordan, once again, basically just being Vegas right now, literally just making these lines up. He just dropped an ice cube. If you're on Instagram, you just saw him drop that, or on YouTube, you just saw him drop that, which was pretty funny. But 9.5, over 120, over -120, under is even odds. I hate betting win totals with a 0.5, to be honest, unless I'm crazy confident in it, because you don't have any possibility of a push, guys.
Jordan, you go.
Somebody hop in, man.
Yeah. I have them. So I have them a half win over, but I would still probably stay away. I'm not just throwing around money on these win totals. Like I got to really believe in your team for me to put money on you. I expect the Eagles to get there, but it's obviously not a sure thing. So 9.5, like 10 wins is a lot of wins in the NFL. That's a good season, especially for a team like the Eagles. So I would stay away, but if you have to put money on this bet, I would lean the over.
I would probably lean the over too, to be honest. Malik, go ahead.
Yeah, I would lean the over, but it's gonna be. You really can't put money on any of these teams. But if I was a bet man, I'd do over, so I just don't lose money by betting under.
Yeah, to be honest, like these NFC East teams are always so fucking tough. They're always so unpredictable. You could see a team come out and put up literally like a 5-win season that is projected to have like an 8-win season. And then you could see teams come up and put up 9 wins that are projected 4 wins or 5 wins. So there's a lot of variability in this conference as always. I'm not going to touch this one again. These lines have seemed pretty spot on. Nothing that really catches my eye so far, or any of our eyes so far. But, if I had to put money, I would probably put money on the over. -120, 9.5. But again, not going to touch it. Not advising any of you touch it that are listening to this or watching this on YouTube. So moving on to the final team in this conference. I think we all have this team winning the division. How about them Cowboys? I have them going 10-7. They lost a few pieces, but they still are pretty talented. They're still a very, very talented team, Jordan. You had them getting 12 wins, was it?
Yep.
12 wins. Talk about them.
Yeah, so I'm a huge Dak fan. I love him in fantasy and I love him in real life. I think he's a really good quarterback and a little bit overhated. People kind of pick on Dak sometimes for things that I don't really think are his fault. But Zeke doesn't look great, but I got to say, like, Tony Pollard looks absolutely electric. he, in my opinion, should get more touches than Zeke, and I wouldn't be shocked if he does. But either way, like having those two backs, like having those options in that 1-2 punch, that's a good backfield. And then CeeDee Lamb's going to absolutely explode this year. I know they lost Amari, but CeeDee's going to go nuts. And then they have talent, basically across the board. They did lose a few guys. They lose Randy Gregory.
Yeah,
they did.
Broncos.
Yeah, so that's definitely a big loss for them. But I just think that the Cowboys they're a solid regular season team. I don't see them making any sort of deep runs, but I have enough faith in Dak that he can get them to 11 or 12 wins in a 17 game season.
Yeah, I think Dak's a great regular season quarterback, and I had him going 10-7. And the reason I said that is because the first part of the schedule is like very, very tough. But then as you go down, it's like it gets pretty easy. The best team you're going to play the last 10 games is going to be the Packers. But then you got the Bears, Lions, Jaguars, and Eagles, and Washington twice, and the Texans. So I can see them reeling off 10 games, but the first part of the schedule is brutal. I mean, you got Tampa Bay, Cincinnati, and the Rams. If they can win some of those games, I could see them winning one of those 3 games for sure.
If they can squeak out one, I think that's a win for them, to be honest. Winning one of those games, especially like against a Super Bowl contender, is a huge momentum swing, a huge momentum push, especially early in the year. Starting the season off on a high note is always something that really can benefit a team, especially a team that, the Cowboys have a chance to be competitive again, just like they were last year. I know they're not as good as they were last year, but they're not obviously a great playoff team because of the Cowboys. But, they're still pretty talented, and they're still looking to make a pretty significant splash this year. So, I have them at 10-7, but I could see them getting to 11 or 12 as well, especially if they can win a few games that they shouldn't on paper. But if they can scrap out a few wins, they're going to lose a few games that they shouldn't as well. So I think 10 wins is kind of where I'm hovering around. And honestly, that's where Vegas has it at. Vegas has it at 10 flat. So I did this first one when I was doing mine. I had, the Cowboys 10-7. I made all my records, and I went and got the Vegas lines from DraftKings. And then I saw Dallas was 10 flat, and I was like, holy fuck, I'm Vegas. But Jordan and I combined, I guess, could be Vegas. So Dallas 10 wins flat, -110 either side. If I'm taking the side, though, I'm taking the over. Like, I'm feeling not insanely confident for a squad ride, but confident enough to maybe put like a half unit on this over. Jordan, what do you think?
Jordan.
Or anybody.
I just think having the ability to push at 10 wins is so awesome for if you want to bet this, because are they really going to go 9-8? Are they that bad?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think they get to 10 minimum, and if they like the guys were saying, if they beat someone that they shouldn't and pull off some upsets, then they can get to 11-12. So yeah, I feel the same way. Half unit over, and if they go 9-8, like, just never bet on the Cowboys again.
Yeah, this is probably like the most secure bet in this division, but it's not very secure. I have them. I'll take the over on that one for sure. That's the most talented team by far. Like, we know what they've done. They were very good last year. They lost some parts, but you got the quarterback, you got the line, you got the running back. You should be good in this division to win 11 games.
Let's take a look at the series prices for the NFC East. It's very interesting. There is no clear favorite here. We have dogs across the board. We have the Cowboys coming in as the favorites, though, at +125. Are you guys feeling confident enough to bet that?
If the line was bigger, I don't know. I'd fade that. That's a fade.
Or just a non-touch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet it. I just don't think it's worth it at +125. But I think the Cowboys are going to win the division, but I just don't want to. I'm not going to throw down, whatever it is, 100 for 125. That's just not great value for a sport where, like, if someone gets injured, then it's you lose that bet. Like if Dak
Yeah,
goes
your
down,
season's wraps.
it's over. So I just don't think it's worth it. If it was like plus 175, I would definitely consider it more.
So are you guys feeling high on any other team to win the division? Or are we just kind of saying, look, it's football, it's the NFL, it's the NFC East, no clear division winner? Is that kind of what we're thinking here?
Well, for me, if you had 100 to play with, think about this. Just bet the Giants. You get a good return.
Don't bet the Giants. They're plus 800 to win the division. Please don't bet the Giants.
Hey, that's $800, dude.
Advising
if you
against
had a
it.
free 100, just bet the Giants.
What are the Giants
honestly.
to lose the division? That's what I would bet.
I don't even know if they have that.
Yeah, brutal.
But I'd probably bet that. That's a solid bet to me.
Minus.
All right, well yeah, exactly. Minus 250 to come in dead last in the division. All right, well, this was fun. These are always one of our favorite segments to do. This will wrap up episode 4. This would be coming out tomorrow, so Friday, July 8th. Thank you, boys, so much for coming on. As always, we will be back on Monday for you guys, posting on YouTube, posting on Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, wherever you find podcasts. We are there. Make sure to follow the socials, Twitters, TikToks. Malik will be handling the TikToks, cutting up clips from these podcasts to post. So very excited about that. Yeah, big things are coming. So stay tuned. And as always, thank you for listening, boys. Final words.
That was a great pod.
Go
Ready for
Giants.
the next one. Yeah,
Go
Giants.
Giants. All right, go Giants. You heard it here first, boys. Love you. See ya.
Please come back, don't say that you don't know. Why do you yeah. Don't say that you don't know. Don't move away. Don't say that you don't know. Don't move away. Please come back. Don't say that you don't know. Why do you yeah. Don't say that you don't know. Don't move away.